The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
The 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had ordered them. When they saw him, they worshipped, but they doubted. Then Jesus approached and said to them, "All power in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always, even until the end of the age." The Gospel of the Lord. The word quarantine comes from the Latin quarenta, which means 40. Right? It used to be that, in the days gone by before modern medicine, when there was some plague, unknown communicable disease, then a whole community would be placed in quarantine. 40 days where people would not interact with each other. They would stay home and they would allow this contagion to subside. So we've done about 2 of these in a row by now, close to 80 days of this, and now we are finally able to gather around the Lord's most sacred altar and celebrate the holy sacrifice of the Mass. But outside of this idea of trying to prevent something from spreading, the number 40, as we all know, has a very significant meaning in the Scriptures. Certainly we have the 40 days, for example, of Noah and his family in the ark. We have the 40 years that Israel wandered in the desert before God led them into the Holy Land. We have the 40 days of Christ in the desert preparing for his public ministry. We see in all 3 of those different themes of what was happening during the period of 40 days or 40 years. First of all is that Noah and his family for 40 days in the ark were looking towards the purification, God's purifying flood to cleanse the earth of evil so that that family might be able to restart in a loving relationship with God. Israel leaving Exodus and looking for the Holy Land, wandering through the desert for 40 years in this period of transition, this period of change, this period of traveling. And then our Lord tempted for 40 days in the desert, a time of preparation. So whether it be purification, whether it be transition, whether it be preparation, there's always time that must be spent apart from the world in order to allow the Lord to speak and to hear the clearness and clarity of his voice. And each time that there is a period of 40, or that any time that there is a dialogue between God and man, what do we see in the Old Testament? We see a pattern emerge, wherein Noah and his family going up into the ark and then coming down out of the ark. During the wandering in the desert for 40 years, Moses is called up the mountain to receive the tablets of the law, and then he comes down in order to communicate that with the people. I think of the covenant made with Abraham, where he is called to take Isaac and sacrifice him on the mountain, and so they go up the mountain. And there at the top, ready to offer sacrifice, being faithful to God, God spares Abraham's only son. And what do? They come down from the mountain. Again, after each one of these instances of going up and then coming down, what then happens? God makes a new covenant with his people in order to restore who they are to the image of who he wants them to be. But that's not so with Christ in the covenant that he makes. Instead of man going up and then coming down, God comes down and then goes back up. Because a new type of covenant. None of the covenants of old could save. None of them brought about a true forgiveness of sins or being a child of God. Notice how, as members of the new covenant, we don't go into the temple to be dedicated, up into the temple, and then we come back down. What happens to us? like Christ comes down to us and then back up to heaven, so we go down into the font and come out a new creature. And so in his nativity, God enters human history. Not just his voice, not just his teaching, God himself in the person of Jesus Christ enters in and unites himself to humanity, to human nature. And so the Ascension is something rather special, because we don't just celebrate some spiritual ascension, that it was just his soul, but he takes that human nature into the Trinity. He takes our human nature into heaven. That descent from heaven and ascent back to heaven. He leaves them, but not altogether. What does he leave with the apostles? The Eucharist, and then soon the Holy Spirit. He leaves himself in the signs and realities of the Eucharist, and he sends the Holy Spirit to guide them into all truth. That wonderful celebration that we will celebrate next Sunday. The reality of Christ taking human flesh and then taking it back to his Father should bring us peace, and it should bring us comfort. Not only, as the opening prayer says for the Mass, that where the head has gone in glory, the body might follow in hope. That is, where our head is, we are called as well. But what sort of humanity, what sort of human nature did he take to the Father? What sort of human nature is at the right hand of the Father and intercedes for us? A body that still bears the marks of the crucifixion. A body that, when we are raised, Christ could invite us to his side in heaven and say, you can, like Thomas, place your fingers here and your hand in my side. A human nature that knows rejection, that knows suffering, that knows thirst, that knows hunger, that knows temptation. The person who lived a life just like you and I. And so when fearful, when persecuted, when suffering, when in pain, when sick, that is when we can draw most closely to our Savior and place ourselves in an offering before his throne. And so do not doubt in these days. Allow Christ to be peace, your peace, in times where the world is ruled by anxiety and fear. And know that whether it is today, tomorrow, a week from now, 10 months from now, 10 years from now, or even farther into the future, when it's time for us to be done with this pilgrim journey, that our head is waiting for us, who have lived faithfully according to that new covenant by which we, his children, are being prepared to inherit a place that he has gone to prepare for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen.